Hi everyone, I'm Pip Wilkins, CEO of the British Franchise Association, and delighted to be joined by an esteemed panel of females in franchising. We are following on from the launch of our sort of female in franchising campaign, all about finding your tribe in franchising and how we are, #stronger together. So first of all, let's get some introductions. So Zoe, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Zoe Kirby in Express. I am a franchise owner and just up until last week was the global CFO for InExpress. Now moving on from that position, dropping into running my InExpress franchise and currently onboarding a replacement for my role.
Fab. Rebecca?
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Newenham. I'm franchise owner of Get Ahead. We're an outsourcing agency. I've been running the business for 10 years and launched as a franchise 3 years ago. So great to be here.
Cool. I'm Steph and I am kind of supporting Helen, who is currently on mat leave. So I'm the face of UWIF, encouraging women into franchising. I also work for Coconut and am a copywriter, marketer, write about franchising a lot. So obviously we're all involved in franchising and we've all got different journeys and different stories when it comes to franchising. So I want to know a little bit about what were your barriers to entering into the world of franchising? Rebecca.
Oh, Steph, yeah, good question. I think for me, and I've spoken to Pip about this in the past, it was that slight feeling of, I always thought that the franchise owner was a bit greedy and possibly, you heard these horror stories where they take the cash and, the poor franchisee never hears from them again. So I was very aware of that messaging that had come out, but also I was really surprised as well at brands that I had no idea were franchised. So for me, it was about being very adamant from the word go that I was going to be different and I wanted to really empower women and be authentic. And I've always had that in the back of my mind that I'm not a greedy franchise owner. I'm not just taking franchisees' fees. They've got me forever. I'm there in their journey, in their life. So that's been really important for me.
You hit the nail on the head for me there with that word authentic. And I think it's one of the things that maybe people don't think about when they're coming into franchising is you actually get to be your authentic self, don't you? As much as you are running a franchise business, under a concept that's been sort of, if you like, prescribed by the franchisor, franchisees have the opportunity to kind of bring themselves to the business. And Zoe is someone that's kind of been CFO, as you just said, but also a franchise owner. How do you make sure, franchisees can really be themselves as part of the InExpress network?
I mean, you're right. People come into franchising and there is an element of this is the model. And so it's kind of prescribed and you really need to follow that model. And after all, why wouldn't you? Because that's the way that it's been proven to other people. But an element of, certainly within Express, this is the model and this is how it works. But how you go about that is really down to you. Ours is a very sales-driven franchise. And so the process of going out and sourcing your leads and how you go about finding customers really can depend on what kind of personality you are, whether you're a cold call, knock on the door, or whether you want to do it over the phone, or whether you're more of a networking kind of person. That is completely down to you. And so you've got autonomy as to how you go out and source the business for yourself.
So in terms of your own experiences, what would you say is the biggest benefit, Zoe? Because obviously you've had quite a lot of experience when it comes to being part of a franchise system from both sides of the coin. So what would you say is the biggest benefit of actually being in the franchise industry?
I suppose I have had both a feet in both camps, really, being part of the franchisor and then also a franchisee. I've had my own franchise for about as long as what I've been on the franchisor side of it. And for me, I suppose it is with anybody who perhaps has a desire to run their own business, it brings an element of lifestyle for me. I always wanted to have the ability to have freedom. Now, that's not to say that just because you're running a franchise, you can come and go as you please, because obviously we're all business owners. We know how hard it is to keep a business going. but that was my goal. I'm a mum of 2, and it was my goal to be able to be flexible, to fit in my work and my business around what I wanted to do in my personal life as well. And I didn't want to be the 8 till 6 kind of in the office all the time person. And as much as there has been a lot of hard work over the years, and sometimes that continued into the evening after the children had gone to bed, I feel like I got the best of both worlds, that I got to have the element of being the mum and the home life that I wanted, mixed up with having a job, having a business, having a career, and having that kind of professional life as well.
I think for me, it's the community element. You know, we talk a lot in franchising about us all being part of this franchise family, and that happens, you know, with franchisors, professionals, sharing know-how, best practice. We do it at association level with other countries around the world. But from a franchisor perspective, for someone coming in, Rebecca, it's that sense of community, the opportunity that it's not just about support from you as a franchisor. I'm guessing and I'm hoping that you're going to say there's a lot that happens with your franchisees kind of sharing network sort of best practice and shared ideas.
Oh yeah, no, totally. And I'm really aware of me not necessarily always being involved in that either. I want them to feel they can develop those very natural relationships together where they can share best practice without me always being involved. But equally, I am the instigator in that. And I'm trying, and I've only got 9 franchise regions. I'm developing sort of like the natural north-south piece around trying to have workshops and in-person bits. But that community is hugely valuable, Pip, absolutely. And I see that very much in my induction when I have a new franchisee launching. I'm very mindful of making sure some of the other franchisees are part of that induction, so they immediately get a sort of a buddy up with somebody else, so it's not just me giving them all the information, which I think is really important.
I think I would echo that as well. We have an all franchisees email distribution list, and that's regularly somebody will post a question out there, and you within minutes you're getting several people responding back to you, giving you advice on what they've done, or yes, I've got experience on that. So you're tapping into a wealth of experience of these franchise owners who have been there for longer than you have, perhaps, if you're a new franchise. And they're incredibly supportive of new franchises in the network, it's like a big extended family support network.
And it's non-competitive, isn't it, Zoe? I think that's important. So it's not like people are being secret squirrel about hiding things away from each other. You know, they want to share the love and the experience, which I think is really important.
Steph, you obviously see it across brands as well, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, working with each individual franchise brand, we do too.
Yeah, I was just about to say that was one of the things that, like, before I came into the franchise industry, I was completely clueless, and then I'm suddenly being asked to write about franchising. And at first it kind of felt like everyone was saying the same kind of thing, but then you realize when you're working with brands that they're saying the same thing because it's consistent, it's authentic, it's genuine. There is a lot of support, there is a lot of encouragement, there's a lot of togetherness within the brand and within the network, but also within organisations like, when people come to EWIB, the conference that you guys run, Pip, and to our conference as well, that there's just this sense of family and togetherness and wanting to see each other as women do really well in the industry, and you can't get away from that. And I think it's such a beautiful thing for women to be a part of. So yeah.
I like you, when I first came in, had no idea what franchising was. I applied for this job at this grand thing called the British Franchise Association. I was like, and they asked me what I thought franchising was right on, first interview, and I was like, oh God, internet didn't exist 20 years ago. So I was very much like, there was a poster on the wall, it said franchising is the way of the future. I was like, it's absolutely the way of the future. But it's absolutely never been truer today than when you look back at that. It is, and there are so many people that don't realise that this is a way that you can be a business owner. You can be in control of your own destiny and, have that work-life balance, but not do it on your own. We've got that community, we've got that kind of opportunity to basically take a blueprint and make it successful. But what I love is the local connection that you see in franchising. so you can make a difference in your local community. And I don't know what you as individual franchisors do, with encouraging franchisees to be part of local community kind of growth and initiatives and charitable stuff, but I think it's just a really wonderful thing.
Oh, totally. It's got and that's what it's about, isn't it? They get, especially in our franchise, a defined territory. And I always laugh about that, because when I onboard someone and they think, I need a bit bigger, I need a bit more. And it's like, no, actually, you'd be surprised at how much opportunity you've got within this defined area. But you're totally right, Pip. It's about creating that community feeling, and they can do it legitimately because they know, they've got a confidence that what they're offering works, and they're not sort of testing the water in an unknown environment, which I think makes a huge difference.
Yeah. I think as well, because obviously I've worked with you, Zoe, and worked with the InExpress network, and we see a lot of the aspect of the giving back and the opportunity that you guys have in terms of giving back. And I know that that's something across the franchise industry as well. It's not just InExpress, but what does that mean to you, Zoe, in terms of being able to give back?
Yeah, so we have an InExpress Gives Back charity committee, which is franchisees who serve on it, and you can volunteer to serve on it, and we just look for good causes. We generally have a charity that we'll support annually as a network as a whole, but there's been any number of franchisees who, sometimes friends and family, who have had a need to raise charity for somebody in their area or somebody close to them, and they've just reached out to the network, and people have just helped to raise the money, or running a marathon, and just sponsor people. And it's amazing how generous people are for causes that they don't really know very much about, but they're supportive of their fellow franchisee who it does mean something to, and it's just a great way to give back. There's a lot of successful franchises at InExpress, and it's just a great way to give back to those who are in need of it.
Yeah.
So we're all absolutely convinced by this franchising thing because we live and breathe it every day. But let's talk about someone that's maybe considering this as an initial, what am I going to do? Franchising could be in my future, to be a potential franchisee. What advice would you give to somebody that's maybe considering franchising, kind of top tip, if you like?
I would say to look at what your strengths are. What is it that you like doing? What is it that you're good at doing? Is there something that you're particularly passionate about? And then go and research franchising, because you'll be amazed at what opportunities are out there, of businesses that you had no idea actually even existed, let alone franchise. And I'm pretty confident that somebody would be able to find anything that would be suited to them, that is a franchise, that's already a franchise network out there.
And I would also say exactly that. So ask other people what they think are your strengths as well, because that's often quite interesting. You might not necessarily see yourself in a certain role, but other people can often see that. And then I think when you've actually selected a few that you're interested in, speak to existing franchisees within that business, because they'll tell you so much as well, rather than just relying on the one person within that business.
So obviously, as the boss of the BFA, in terms of the number of brands that we've got operating in the UK, there's obviously quite a lot, and you deal with quite a lot. So what is it that you would kind of advise people on that kind of sense?
For me, there is 935 franchise systems to choose from, and I think the word that springs to mind for me, if somebody says, what's the key thing? It's absolutely find something that you love doing and you have a passion for. This isn't a small industry. We've got 17.2 billion contribution to the economy, which is 1% of UK's GDP, and it employs 710,000 people now, me being one of them. So, for me, if you're going to come into franchising, it's a touchable, feelable, pokeable thing. You can go and look at someone that's been and done it before you. You can find people that are like you and see what they've invested in and how it's worked for them. But it's absolutely, this is your opportunity to do something that you love. You don't have to have necessary experience when you go into a franchise, do you? You know, the franchisor is going to give you that training and support. So it's an opportunity to change your life, maybe get out of the corporate rat race and find something where you control your own destiny. But absolutely, to be successful, you've got to love what you do.
Yeah, and the BFA, you also do courses, don't you, to support potential franchisees who are looking to come into the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. We had one earlier today. So we do buy a franchise seminars, and we've got a free kind of prospective franchisee certificate that will take people on that journey. You know, what is franchising? You know, the real nitty gritty of it. What do franchisors look for in me? You know, what do I need to do to get bank finance or understand the legalities? But for us, it's making it really simple. You know, you can go over to the BFA website, or even indeed your website, Steph, because there's, between us, we've got a wealth of information to help anyone that wants to find a future in franchising find the right brand for them.
Yeah, there's lots of advice on both the EWIF and BFA websites, from how to find the right franchise to how to approach a franchisor, all the kind of information that we will all need when, you know, if you're looking into starting a business through the franchise industry. There's tons of information, and obviously a lot of franchisors will do discovery days as well. They're always open, so you can contact, and yeah, it's an open industry, so don't be afraid to take that step, that tentative step out into new waters.
Absolutely. From our perspective, we've got a joint event, haven't we, that we're going to be running in October later this year, which is called Empowering Women in Business. So there's some great stories. And if you want to read stories, I think, about people that have been and done it before you, we've been running this campaign called, you know, Find Your Tribe in Franchising. And you can just read case studies of people that have been and done it, and it's changed their life. So we hope that at some stage, if you're watching this, you find your home in franchising and your tribe, because we really are, as an industry, stronger together. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Thank you.